become my pets. Sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets.
It's true all the time.
Views and opinions are not necessarily that of John Strange, host, guest, and affiliated.
You have everything. They're just balls of light, of light, of light, of light. There's a ghost in the house.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Strange, broadcasting live from the Napa Valley Wine Country on Twitch and on YouTube Live. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We have tonight with us Theta healer Jeff Renel, and we also have Russ Bailey and our brother Gigi joining us tonight. And we have some really good stuff for you tonight. Let me go ahead and bring in our guest, Jeff Renel. Jeff, how are you doing tonight, sir? Probably help if I unmuted you. There you go.
Am I live now?
You're live now, sir.
All right. Well, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Dave. Good to see you again, Russ, and good to see you always, Gigi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great to see you, brother.
Right on. And then we also have Russ Bailey of Black Sky Paranormal. Thank you, sir.
Greetings, everyone.
Great job
Welcome to
last
the
week,
show.
by the way, or at the beginning of the week, I should say. You and Jess
Yeah,
Rogie
man.
did the show for me, and I really appreciate that.
As always, Jess Rogie killing it on them live mics, man. Man, what a night. UFO takeover.
I know it definitely was, and we'll have to actually bring UFO Jane back when she's able to. She got stuck in that freak frozen storm in Texas. We'll talk about that tonight for sure. And also, we have our brother Gigi Rabbit from Shift Happens. How you doing tonight, sir?
Fantastic, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Good to join you guys.
Right on. And I can see that the freaking Twitch. Why am I saying freaking so much? the Twitch chat room is just filling up. We got Jose, got Just T, we got Mike J, Jess the reporter. What's going on, Rogie? Speaking of Rogie, man, we got a lot of people in the Twitch, and then we also have our friends over here at YouTube Live. Michael Jordan's also in there. We got Sojourner and Tiffany Renee Illuminati. What's going on, Tiff? You chose to go into the YouTube chat tonight. She's usually in the Twitch chat. Earlier, Minka was in there as well. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And those in Discord, if you can hear us and you're in Discord, thank you for joining us there as well. All right. First of all, I just want to say thanks again, Jeff, for coming on the show. And perhaps you can give our listeners a little bit of a background of you and what you practice. And yes, everything that's you so far.
All right. Awesome. Well, I am a Theta healer. I am a practitioner, instructor. Just a little bit about me and just my background and how I started in all this is basically as far back as I can remember. I've just always had this infatuation for Jesus in a sense, where I just really wanted to know more about what he was teaching. And but I didn't go from a religious aspect though, because I wasn't really brought up religiously. But I just always had this fascination and I never knew why. And so my whole life growing up, I just wanted to know more, and just, always was looking into things and stuff growing up. Wasn't until I got into my my early 20s and stuff, where things started opening up, and I had people giving me information to where it started to really expand and stuff. And it wasn't until I got an injury doing tile, because that's one of the main careers I did for most of my life was tile. And so I had a bad lower back, and looked like I was going to need surgery and everything. And then out of anybody in my life, my dad actually, which seems funny, had me go to this chiropractor, this guy, Dr. Roberts. And so I went to him, and it was the most amazing experience of my life, because my whole life I've been sitting there believing in what Jesus is teaching and trying to learn more. And then all of a sudden I walk into this doctor's office, and I'm going to tell you right now, this guy's as close as you could come to a person that heals like Jesus.
Wow.
He is absolutely amazing. And he did wonders for me. I had a really bad lower back. I could barely move. I was always in pain. It was horrible. And the other doctors, and the diagnosis I was getting is I had a deteriorating disc, and I would have to change my career. I was looking at surgery, all those things that they wanted me to do. Luckily, I was introduced to Dr. Roberts, and actually within a couple of sessions, I was feeling great, especially for what I was a month before that. And he really never ever adjusted me. He only really talked to me. He asked me weird questions about my emotional beings and stuff like that. He did this weird thing with his fingers like this. And me and my family used to make fun of him at first, because we didn't have no idea what he was doing, but he was actually doing a muscle technique, a muscle testing technique. And he would just proxy through us, and he would be asking questions and stuff. Well, little did I know, he was using energy work. He actually was a Theta healer, but he did a bunch of different modalities. And so I was privileged enough to be a patient of his for 10 years. And he did amazing things with me, and I was just astonished. And after 10 years, I felt the greatest I've ever felt in my life. I hardly ever had issues in my life since then. But he was the one that introduced me into Theta healing. But it was later on in my life when I actually started to pursue Theta healing. It was after I lost everything, when the economy collapsed in 2008, 2009. I was lucky enough to go through a self-help training in Utah. That's what brought me out to Utah originally too, is I did a self-help training, and it opened me up to a lot of things. So when I lost everything in my life, I at least had enough awareness at that time that now my life was up to me. I got to choose. Before I do what I like to call living life by default. And I think everybody kind of does live life by default in a way.
Oh yeah, sure.
When we're young, somebody's like, hey, I know somebody that's hiring, go get a job over here. And you get a job, and then you're there too long and making too much money, so you can't quit, but you never like the job and you're unhappy. And sometimes the same things happen in our relationship, because we're lazy, and somebody's like, hey, my girlfriend has a friend, you want to meet her? And you're in the relationship, but somebody's loving you, so you just stay and stuff, but you're not really happy.
Right.
And so that, to me, that's living life by default. And that's the way I lived my life up till that moment. And like I said, luckily I was awakened to certain things. And so at that moment, when I lost everything, I realized that my life was free. I no longer was strapped down to everything that identified me before. And so I got to pick my life at that moment. And so I sat there for a while and I thought about it. It took weeks and stuff, but then that creative energy, it works in funny ways. All of a sudden I got a call from a friend that I know from Vegas, but she was living in Pennsylvania at this time. And she wanted to know if I could pick her up at the airport and take her to the airport again the next morning and stuff, because she was just in this class. And so I went and did that, and we went out to eat and we're talking and stuff. And she was like, yeah, I was just in the Theta healing class, and I was taking the instructor class up in Idaho Falls with Vienna. And I'm like,
that's funny.
Oh, really? And so it didn't take long after that talk for me to go, that's what I'm going to do. And so she left the next morning. And when I got home from the airport, taking her to the airport, I went straight to the phone and I called up Dr. Roberts, and I was like, hey, when are you teaching the next class? And boom, the next thing was history after that. And I mean, it's my favorite thing in the world. I love Theta healing. I think everybody should learn it. It's absolutely amazing. The work that Vianna Steibel has done to create it is just astonishing to me. The information that she has brought out is phenomenal. And so what is Theta healing? Theta healing it's a little bit of everything. I mean, it truly is. So it's too hard for me to explain just in a moment, but Theta healing is a technique that we do to go into focused prayer, focused meditation. We connect into the theta brainwave, so you get a better connection. You actually then, in my mind, what I feel we're doing is connecting into that internet, that spider web connection of everything that is, and you can actually travel, and you can go anywhere. I mean, everybody has this ability. I'm not special. Nobody out there is special that has psychic abilities. We all have these abilities. You just need to be taught how to listen into them and how to feel it. They're there. You're manifesting with them every single day of the moment. The unfortunate thing is if you don't understand how you're manifesting with it, you kind of probably are manifesting negative things, because unfortunately our society teaches us negative things. So that's what we focus on. So Theta healing is not only a focused meditation, but it also teaches you about the belief systems that we hold in our subconscious. And I think that's probably where it is the most important thing in the world, especially to us. You know, the one thing I don't do is I don't look at myself as human. I look at myself as a spirit living in the human body. Okay. And that's the one thing we need to do. And when we start to understand and look at ourselves that way, everything starts to change. And the one thing we need to understand are these belief systems that are held in the subconscious, because that creates us. That makes us what we are. That makes me who I am. I believe it makes me look the way I look. I believe it makes every one of us look the way we are. And I believe it's what keeps us trapped in this human body. I think it's what makes us matter is these belief systems, because they can be positive and they can be negative. And some of these negative ones can be so heavy that it creates a dense matter, I would say, in a sense. I mean, it's just me thinking, but anyhow, the belief system is absolutely amazing, because it is why we do everything that we do. It is the behaviors we have. It creates the emotions. It doesn't create the emotion, but it takes us to those emotions, I should say. It creates every experience we have, and it gives us the perspective that we see from every experience. And that's why all four of us can have the exact same experience and perceive it in different ways, because all of our belief systems are different. And so we're going to perceive it differently just because of our belief system. One person might think that the world is oh God, I lost train of thought there.
But you know,
sorry, totally lost the word I'm looking for. And
actually, this is a good segue, because what I wanted to ask you really quick is what you just said about us four having different belief systems, where we're all experiencing the same reality, or is it our own realities all at once?
It's your own reality. Mm-hmm. It is. You're the center of your world, and you should act as that too. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, we all have our different perspectives. If you look back in Egypt, what I found fascinating is they talk about Thoth, and Thoth, of course, gave his writing and all that. But I've also heard that Thoth's wife also dictated everything that was going on. So that way they had a male perspective and a female perspective. That way it helped giving both sides of the both views, because as we know, women and men are definitely totally different. Mm. And we all have different perspectives, because our belief systems are all just a little bit different. You know, we'll come into this world with belief systems as well too. I believe whatever spirit needs, it'll bring into the world. And we'll also call in the families that we need as well to create these belief systems. And again, they can be very positive and they can be very negative. And the negative ones will always turn positive, if that makes sense, because the negative ones are the ones we're learning our lessons from and we're growing from. And we might not know they're there until we have some negative experience. And then we look bad upon ourselves and go, oh my God, I got this horrible belief But truly what it is it's this beautiful thing that's serving you and making you understand parts of yourself to where you can then have that aha moment and go, oh, wait a minute. I don't want that in my life. I want this in my life. Does this make sense at all?
Yes, it does. And, you know, I've always kind of wondered that if what I, like I was saying earlier, if I perceive something, is it the same way you perceive it? Or is it the same way Gigi perceives it? Or is it the same way that Russ perceives it? Like, you know, to me, my shirt is black, but that doesn't necessarily mean it looks like the same color as you are looking at. But you know it is black.
What a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question because and there's perception to perceive on me for that I wouldn't be looking at, but how we would describe an experience we were in, maybe we wouldn't describe the black the same way. I don't know. But what I'm talking about is if we experienced a car accident,
okay,
and we went to go talk about it and tell it to the police officer or whoever, we would all probably tell it a little bit different because of what our belief system is. It makes us view things a certain way because we believe that's the way the world is. If I'm a victim, I believe the world is always attacking me. And that's what I was looking for earlier.
Well,
does that make sense? And so I think every experience is an attacking experience. It's something attacking me because I'm a victim and I live a victim. I perceive the world as me being a victim. So I would look at you three as getting ready to attack me at any time because that's what happens to a victim. They're always being attacked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we are a pretty motley looking crew, aren't we?
Well, here's a great example, right? Let's say, you know, back in my skateboarding days, you know, I'm out with some filmers and I'm board sliding down a 15-stair handrail. If another skateboarder sees that, he's seeing something really awesome happening. But if the guy who owns the property that rail is on, he's just seeing vandalism, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay.
That's a very good point. And that's how drastic and different they can be. And, you know, it's amazing, but it shows us who we are. Mm-hmm. You know, my belief system, by starting to recognize and see my belief systems, made me start to recognize the things I didn't like in myself that I was doing, or I didn't like the experience I kept having. And so it allowed me to see that and start to make the changes in that. So now with Theta Healing, everybody's able to do this again. We're just trained, but you're able to go up into the Theta brainwave. The Theta brainwave is actually where you download these programs. If you listen to Bruce Lipton at all, he talks about it a lot. So in the Theta brainwave, we download it. And so that's why we go into Theta brainwave, because then you're into that same brainwave where you then can change it if that person wants to change it.
Man, Bruce Lipton is one of my favorite souls on this planet. And listen, folks, if you want something to do tonight, go on YouTube, look up a part of a documentary. It's called Ancient Knowledge Part 4.5. And half of it is Bruce Lipton, half of it is Michael Cremo, but all of it is awesome. And everyone should watch it.
Hey, Bruce Lipton.
After the show.
Bruce Lipton is absolutely awesome. From that guy's study, he was a professor at the University of Wisconsin. And from his studies in cells, he started to realize that what he was teaching was all wrong. And he quit his job because he could not teach the wrong information. That's an honorable
Amazing.
man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That
story is really
that's so scary. Like, I mean, you know, that's like, you know, each and every one of us just changing our lives all, you know, starting from scratch. Man, I can't even, you know, fathom that, you know.
Did you just change your career like that?
Yeah, probably now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, just the thought of that. But, you know, really quick, I also want to go back a little bit because I know you were talking about Jesus, and you were talking about, you know, I'm sorry, the name of the doctor again?
Dr. Roberts.
Roberts?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were getting treated, how, you know, I could see how Jesus would come into mind with the healing. But did you have, I mean, I also noticed that you were getting all these synchros happening. Did you have any idea about synchronicity before you met the doctor?
I mean, vaguely, because of just little things that I had studied and just tried to, you know, I mean, because I've always found it fascinating. So if I found a documentary on something, I would watch it and stuff, but I never really researched like I do today. And since I really delved into it back in 2009. So when I met Dr. Roberts, I didn't really see the synchronicity in that. Things after that with him, definitely. Because,
you see it all now, though.
Yeah, and yeah, I've had some amazing experiences with him. I've seen him do a healing that is just absolutely, I saw a miracle happen right in front of me. Yeah, I mean, seriously, the guy is absolutely amazing, and each and every one of us is just like that. You just have to understand what's going on, learn how to do it, and we can do it. We can heal ourselves. We can heal everything. We can heal this planet. It's awesome. It's just an illusion.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a synchronicity right now, Jeff. I mean, I know we've talked before, you know, you've been on the show before, but every time I have you on the show, I just feel like I learned something new. And the synchronicity for me, like today, you know, what you were talking about earlier is how people perceive things, or, you know, how we experience things. And I'm looking at the world right now. And I know that we all know that we've been through hell the last year and a half with all the COVID stuff, all the politics, you know, everything, you know, the riots, you know, all that stuff. How can we use this to help us through this time right now?
Perfect. I'm glad you asked that. Okay, so one thing I definitely wanted to share today is something, because I know we're all sitting here going, what can we do? Because, you know, there's been times I'm sitting here going, what do I do? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I want to do something. I love this country. I love this world. I love every single person out there, even the ones I don't get along with. And so what can we do? Well, the one thing I think a lot of your listeners here do know is what is happening on the other side and what they will do. And that, you know, it definitely looks like, you know, there's the battle of good and evil going on right now. But we definitely are in some crazy times, some very unstable times right now. So everybody has the power to change everything, because whether you realize it or not, you are the creator. You are God. You are the creative energy of all that is. You rule everything. This whole thing is an illusion. We're all playing a game together. You know, that creative energy is just playing a game with itself, you know, so we truly control all of this. And so it's how we give energy, and the other side knows this. They're using media and all this stuff to manipulate us, to stress us out, to get us out of our game. Okay. And this is what they've been doing to us this whole time. If we're stuck paying our bills, worrying about our job, worrying about coming home to the family and all these different things, you know what you can't worry about? Yourself. And you know how you tap into, well, what most people will call psychic senses. They're not psychic senses. They're just senses. Okay. And when you can't pay attention to yourself, you can't pay attention to what's going on, you can't just relax and calm down, you won't notice the signs. You won't notice what the universe and creation is telling you, because it is talking to you at all times. It's whether you are in position to actually sit and listen and understand what it's telling you, because it'll tell you everything. I mean, it is so amazing. I mean, I could go on a story after story of things that I felt from the universe, and where it's just like told me a whole thing like within a second. And sure enough, it happened that night. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. But we all have this connection. And so what can we do? Feelings are the key. Okay. And so what they're taking away from us is our feelings. Right now, I don't think very many people have had the chance to really feel good about life and everything around us in the last year and a half. And if you look at it, everything they're doing, they're taking about everything away from us that allows us to feel good. I hate wearing the mask into the store. I mean, I won't wear it any other time except when I go into the store, and I only do that because I don't want the economy to close down again. I do it for respect of the people that own the store, and anything like that, I'll do it for and stuff. But the one thing I hate about that is one thing that changed my life is smiling at everybody that made eye contact with me. Everybody that makes eye contact with me, I smile at them and I say, hi, how are you doing? Because I want my world to be a loving, happy world. And so I put out the energy to create that. Okay.
Fantastic.
And so wearing a mask, we can't do that. They're trying to take the words mother, father, brother, sister, all this away. Everything that unites us, they're trying to take away from us. We can't allow this to happen. We have to unite. I mean, this is the story of Babylon all over again. They're no longer, you know, if you know the story of Babylon, it's the exact same thing. They're separating us. They're taking us away, so we cannot unite.
And the difference,
to me, 99%, I mean, last time I checked in math, and I'm pretty good at math, 99% is way stronger than the 1%.
Should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
I know Russ has some questions from the chat, but Gigi wanted to cut in real quick. So Gigi, go ahead, and then Russ, go ahead.
well, yeah, I mean, when it comes, like everything you're just saying, Jeff, I think the difference now is, especially with the help of the internet, is they can't hide what they're doing anymore. Now everybody knows that these things are being done on purpose. And now they're just like, okay, well, F you. What are you going to do about it? You know? And that's kind of where we're at right now. And yeah, something about, like, my whole body rejects the feeling of having a mask on. But just like you know, if a store requires it, if, you know, I don't want to bother anybody, you know, I want the economy to work too. So I do it. But at the same time, it makes me feel like I'm being suffocated by a small midget at all times. And I can't stand it. But yeah, before we get any further, though, there was a good question in the chat room from one of the Jesses.
Yeah, I think Russ was going to take that one.
Oh, go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, it just says, Jess T says, what's the difference between Theta healing and Reiki?
There's actually a lot of difference to it. Reiki is awesome. I'm also a Reiki master. I think Theta healing is just more evolved. I think it's coming to, it's the newer energy type of thing. It has way more around it, and it's way more simplified and way more, it covers more ground in a lot of ways. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to take anything away from Reiki because I absolutely love Reiki. I think it serves a great purpose, and it definitely is an amazing technique. I love using it at times. I mean, I mainly only use Theta anymore, just because once you understand what you're tapping into, there's really no need to tap into anything else, because when you're working with Theta, we're taught to work with the creative energy of all that is. We don't work with, well, you can go work with angels or whatever you want, but we always work with the creator of all that is first, and then come back to the angels. We always go to the highest source first, and then work with other angels or whatever. And so Reiki is definitely good. You would have to learn a little bit more about Theta, because Theta has a lot of techniques to it. It's very interesting. But it's, yeah, Reiki's more hands-on. Theta, it's more of a therapy session as well, too.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seemed, because, you know, like our friend John, you know, he's a Reiki master,
Yes.
and I'm sure you know others as well. And I've experienced both types of healing, and obviously I've had you on the show countless times, and we've had these discussions. It seems like Reiki is more of like a good first step, something to learn first, and then eventually you would move on to Theta.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to upset anybody, but yes, I think, to me, I especially studying this type of work and stuff, to me, I see a progression in how energy work has evolved. You know, back in the day, you had the medicine men, the shaman that were actually pulling that disease out of the body and into themselves and then dispersing it out into that creative energy. Reiki to me is the next step that evolved up from that. And now I believe there's a lot of amazing techniques that are coming out that are of the new energy and are just a higher vibration of a healing modality, and have some really neat techniques to them. I think there's some really amazing modalities out there, but from out of all the ones I've studied and looked at, I don't think any of them is as complete as Theta healing is. It just covers every aspect of life, and it teaches you about you. I mean, it totally brought me to my creative energy and taught me that I am the creator. I create everything around me, my whole existence. And so if you don't mind, Dave, I would like to get back to your question because unfortunately I got a little long-winded with that one. What can we do right now?
Yeah, no problem.
And it's truly manifesting, okay? And it's learning how are we manifesting and how can we overcome them messing with our manifestation, because they are through mass media, through everything they're showing, they're putting us into fear, okay? They're dictating to us what we're going to think about from day to day, from moment to moment. They do it to me at times until I catch myself, and then I have to free myself of this. But we control what we think, what we feel every second of the day. You have all control of it. So manifesting is all about feeling, okay? Your thoughts are great, okay? Your thoughts start the change of things. But it's your feelings that truly manifest. Your feelings are that true universal language to the creative energy of all that is and says, this is what I want. My true feeling inside is what tells me, this tells the universe, this is what I want. This is what I want to experience, okay? If I feel depressed, that's what I'm telling the universe I want is depression. And the universe loves me so much. It's going to say, Jeff, of course, let me give you some stuff to be depressed about. And I'll sit there and I'll be depressed. And it isn't until I decide I do not want to be depressed anymore. I want to experience happiness, joy, and love. And when I decide that, it doesn't just turn around. I have to choose into it. I have to start choosing into that feeling every moment of the day to start to create that. And then the universal energy, that creative energy of all that is says, oh, Jeff, you want to experience happiness, joy, and love. Well, let me start to give you things in your universe to be happy for, to be joyful for, to be loving for. And it will, because the universal energy, that creative energy loves us all that much. It will give us whatever we want and desire, okay? And so right now they're manipulating our thoughts and our feelings, and they're making us go there. I ask you to just sit down, go into meditation, clear all of that energy, and start to go to yourself and feel the energy of love, and start to feel, what do you want to feel in the future? Okay. What do you want to have in the future? What does that feeling feel like to you? What kind of love would you want to have? What kind of love would you want your family to be feeling? What kind of love would you want your kids, your friends? What would that feel like to you? Start to embrace that, because your feelings are the true manifestation. That is what is telling the universal energy what you want. So if you can start to create what you want and truly feel it, okay? As adults, we have a hard time imagining and feeling things, okay? We need to break that down and start to get into that and start to feel it, because when you start to really feel, one thing that'll happen is you'll go into those other senses that people call psychic. They're not, they're just beautiful senses that we need to tap into, okay? So when you go into your feelings and you start to feel love, that's when you're going to start to really tap into it. When you start to have unconditional love, you start to have understanding, all these beautiful things. But what I would like you to do for what can we do in the world today is just start to feel love. Start to project that energy instead of going and feeling worried when we turn on the news or turn off the news. That's what I had to do, because it was getting too much for me for a while. So I've turned off the news and I just worry about myself. But go to the things that make you happy. Go to things that bring love to you. Hold that energy, because as soon as you go back and go, oh my God, look at what they're doing to me, You now brought that into your reality, because that doesn't have to be part of your reality. What you believe is your reality. As soon as you allow somebody else to let you believe what they believe, now they just became stronger than you, and they brought you into their reality. So when they're on the media saying, this is what's real, and you allow them to bring you into that, then now that's reality in your life. But if you go, no, that's not part of my existence, that's your existence, and you just shun it, and you think it's fair, you just don't put energy into it. Does this make sense?
It does make sense. But what I'm thinking to myself is, at what point do you know that you're putting out, the question to the universe, if that's, let's just say that's how you do it. And you say, I'm depressed, give me depression, and the universe is like, okay, you got it. And at what point do you make that decision? How do you make that decision if all you know was depression? If that makes sense.
That's what I was going to ask.
That's usually the hardest part. And that's usually what people get stuck in the most. And that's what sucks is, yes, when that's all you know, that's all you know.
Yes.
If you don't know happiness, you don't know how to get there. And that's the biggest problem. That's where you got to learn it. And the beautiful thing about us being human and what the emotions we have and the imagination, we can start playing with it. I might not know what love really feels like, because maybe I came from a broken home and all this, but I can start to imagine, what would it feel like? What would I want love to feel like to me? What would I want this to feel like to me? And I can start to imagine it. And then the universe is going to give me a little bit of that. And the more I start to feel it, the more I expand it. What does it feel like now?
Right.
Well, can I make it a little bit bigger love? Can I grow my love? And now what does it feel like? And after you live in that for a while, then expand it out even more. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. This message right now is important to the people who are listening and who are depressed, who are just have a bunch of fear in their life, who don't know what love is, who maybe come from broken homes, maybe have come from, drug addiction. We've got so much good stuff happening in the chat rooms right now. I just want to point that out. But, yes, Jeff, that's the
really
thing
quick.
Is we got to get that out. Yes.
So really quick. So a great way, if you don't know love and you're in depression, you're in hatred, whatever, because I grew up where I was a very angry person. Okay. And that's why I know I understand a lot of this, is because I had to bring myself through all of this. I had to work through all these negative programs. And so if you're battling depression, you're battling anger and stuff like that, you need to find little triggers that can key you out of that. Okay. And so like, if you're in depression and you don't know what love is, there's certain things that has given you love throughout your life. You just got to find it. What does it feel like to have a puppy licking your face? Does that bring you love? Then imagine what that feels like to you. And then you can capture a little bit of that feeling and bring it into your heart. Bring that feeling into every soul or every cell of your body. And imagine it going into that, because it's going to help entrap it into your body, and you're going to identify with that feeling. And why is it important to identify with feelings and understand it? When I want a new feeling in my creation, I sit down and I play with it. And I'm like, what does it feel like? How does it feel? What do I want it to feel like? And I play with it, and I study it, and then I embed it into me so I know it. So when I am having that hard time, I can remember, what does it feel like to be loved? What does it feel like to be happy? And I can go instantly there because I know the feeling. I know exactly what it is. And I can pull myself out of the feeling of hatred or whatever it might be. I can pull myself out because I identify this. And that's why I think feelings are so important, and you got to identify with the ones that benefit you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so whether it's imagining a puppy licking your face, whether it's like with me when I was, my kids were younger, it was always imagining my kids running up and their little skinny arms hugging me around my neck and me so hard. That was always my thing. Because let me tell you a little bit of something about me. What really changed my life is because, again, I was a really negative person. I got pissed off really easy. And so I started to learn some things. And I realized, you know what? I was the disease. I was passing the disease to everybody. You came up to me and Russ goes, "Hey, Jeff, how you doing?" Well, how much time you got, Russ? I'm going to tell you, woe is me. Let me just go on and on and on. Well, when I started to wake up and I realized I was the cancer, I was the disease, I just passed it on to Russ. Now Gigi's going to go, Russ, how you doing? And Russ is going to go, Gigi, how much time you got on you? And it's going to keep going, and we're going to keep spreading this around. And I knew I was part of that cancer, and I didn't want to be that cancer because my world was going to be loving and peaceful and joyful. And so I knew I had to find something I had to change myself with finding love. And so that's what I pictured was my two little beautiful daughters running up when they were little kids and hugging me with their skinny little arms. That gave me love. Okay. So when people came up like Russ and said, Jeff, how are you doing? I could imagine that. I imagined my kids running up and hugging me. And I also thought about, you know what? I'm healthy. My kids are healthy, and I have tomorrow to make tomorrow better. So when somebody would come up to me now and say, hey, Jeff, how are you doing? I don't care if my day was shit. I would think about that, and I would say, my life is great. Everything is great. How are you doing? And then I would listen. You know, that changes the world. It changed my world instantly. My world went, because I was the mean, aggressive one, my world went from that to loving almost instantly. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I had work to do, but the outside world, my environment, as Bruce Lipton talks about, change your environment.
There you go. And it doesn't happen overnight, you know, and that's the thing too, is, you know, it's going to take practice. It's going to take time. But eventually, you know, things do start coming to you, and it's like that saying, you know, whatever you put out there comes back to you. And I think that's really important as well. We have so many good comments in the chat room, by the way. I just want to, welcome again.
Can I say one more thing about that really quick?
Yeah, sure.
So, and we got to realize, because I have a friend that was going through some things, and, you know, and I'm trying to coach him through some things. And he's like, well, I keep falling down. Well, you know what? I fall down all the time too. You know, we got to realize what we are. We're energy. What does energy act like? It acts like a wave sometimes. What do waves do? Waves go up and down. And so I believe through our spiritual journey, we go up and down constantly. We get enlightened. We get enlightened so much. We're in a whole new spectrum we've never been in before. And maybe we go into ego because we feel we're so enlightened, and boom, we come crashing back down, and we go back down to being, you know, in the abyss, and maybe we're evil for some time. And then we come shooting back up. Well, you know, I think our spirit does this, but we do this too. We do it year to year. We do it day to day. We do it minute to minute. You know, how many times do you know, in a day, do you have an hour where you have so many different emotional aspects in 1 hour? It happens constantly. So realize that is life. So just absorb it and say, hey, it's just what it is. I go back to my happy point in life, and just realize it's what it is. It's just a moment in time. As soon as you realize, wait a minute, I'm not in a happy point, that gives you the chance now to change everything and say, wait a minute, let me get back to the energy I project, the energy in my world. Because remember, this is all just an illusion, and you can change it at any moment.
But why? I mean, why does life have to have ups and downs? Like, if I were the creator and I were making a reality for myself to live in, I would just make it a straight, awesome line of awesomeness at all times.
You'll never learn anything.
Yeah, how would you know it's awesome? You'll
never learn.
You need contrast in life. Okay, what are we doing here? Look, the one thing that when I came into this life, I had two questions: how and why. Why am I here, and how did this all happen? Okay.
Same here. Yeah.
Why are we here? I'll tell you. Okay. I think we're all here for the exact same purpose: to understand love. It's just everybody's experience and mission on how you're going to get to that perspective or to that purpose is all different. We're all here, I think, an extension of creation, just trying to understand love from every aspect. And that's why there is no good or evil. It just is. This is all complete love. We come from love. We are love. We gravitate towards love. When we're fractured away from love, it seems like we're in hell. It is just love. When you're in absolute hell, I mean, when do we learn our most? Is when we hit rock bottom.
Yep.
Right.
That's true.
Go, oh, wow, what did I just go through? You know, we don't do that in the good times, but if you're enlightened, you might. You know, if you're enlightened, you might ask that question, hey, how can I keep improving? Because when you don't, that's when you fall.
And now, real quick, that was so very well said.
Very well,
every bit of
said.
that. Now, real quick, right before, because I think we have a break coming up.
We're going
right
to go
now.
to a quick break. Go ahead, Gigi. Finish your thought.
There was a question a long time ago in the chat room that we never quite got to, that I thought was a good question. Heidi asks, any audiobooks that you can specifically recommend on Theta healing?
Especially yours, Jeff. If you have any.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's why the creator brought me to Utah, so I can actually sit down and write my book. That's not my strong point, but that's what I'm going to try to do. But I will have some videos.
Nice.
Videos for people that I've listened to in my time. My all-time favorite is Dr. Wayne Dyer. The Power of Intentions is one of his books and CDs. That's one I listen to religiously. I listened to it over and over again, and then I'd go out and practice everything he talks about, and then I'd throw it back in, and I'd listen to it over and over again, go back out and practice all of those things, because I'm telling you, every time I pop that tape in, I always heard something new, because once I started practicing what he was teaching, I evolved. And then when I listened to it again, wow, there's a whole new meaning there, because then I got something totally different.
Right.
And it's just so amazing. And we won't get it until we're where we need to be. So I think, I would suggest Dr. Wayne Dyer, Power of Intention to anybody. I think the Power of Intention has pretty much all of it that somebody needs to start to change their life. Bruce Lipton is great too, because he has so many powerful things to make you realize about what you are and who you are. Vienna Stiebel books for Theta Healing. Definitely good. And if you're interested in Theta Healing, I would definitely suggest checking out Bruce Lipton, because Bruce Lipton, man, everything he talks about only supports what I've learned through Theta Healing. It supports it 100%, you know.
Beautiful.
That's where I would start.
Beautiful. And
I teach classes too. If Heidi ever wants to find, learn it, I'll teach classes, you know. They even have it online now.
All right. Awesome. We will hold that thought, and we'll come back and we'll talk with Jeff Renel and Theta Healing and how it applies to today right now, because of everything that we're going through. So Jeff will definitely let us know how we can get through all this, and we will be right back right after this very quick commercial break. Don't go away. We're right back. This is Beyond the Strange.
Hey, this is Deb, and you're listening to Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange Radio.
Cherie Ariano of Divine Light Quantum Healing offers energetic healing services and healing tools. Her healing techniques use a high frequency and high dimensional healing modality called the crystalline healing light. This technique is an innovative and advanced vibrational healing modality that harmonizes all aspects of the human being. These oils, elixirs work on emotional healing, chakra balancing, and physical ailments through aromatherapy and crystal healing. Cherie sent us some of her bracelets. Deb has the I Am Loved bracelet. She has noticed that she loves the aroma of the oils. It gives her a sense of calmness and being loved. As for me, I have the I Am Protected bracelet and essential oil elixir, which are both made with the black obsidian gemstones. These bracelets have made a difference in our lives. Check out her store today at CherieAriano.com. That's CherieArellano.com. Use the promo code Beyonders and save 10% off your order. Divine Light Quantum Healing. It's like healing in a bottle.
Have you ever looked skyward and pondered UFOs, aliens, time travel, alternate universes, and parallel dimensions? Want to explore paranormal activities, hauntings, and various cryptoids such as Bigfoot, sea and lake monsters? Greetings, Beyonders. I'm author Casper Parks, and you're listening to Beyond the Strange with host Dave Cruz. Help spread the word by posting links to forums and social media. Available at YouTube, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz, and we are on Twitch, streaming on YouTube Live as well. Thank you all for joining us. I see a lot of people who joined us a little bit later. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us. Sojourner. Hi, Tiffany. I know you're in the other chat as well. One World Healing. You guys rock. Thank you so much for joining us in the YouTube chat. And we are speaking with Jeff Renel, Theta Healer. Fantastic show so far. I mean, it's just been amazing. And once again, I just want to thank Jeff for coming on the show tonight. Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us tonight. And man, it's been a great show so far. You know, it's there's a before we get back into some of the stuff that we're talking about earlier, there's a few questions in the chat. There's a lot of good comments. Gigi actually, did bring up the question about where could we find, audiobooks, more information about theta healing. I mean, you said something about 10 years. I think you said that you either you've been doing it for 10 years or the doctor was doing it for 10 years, the theta healing. How long has theta healing actually been around?
Like that, and which ones to release to help on that. Anything from money issues. I mean, anything you want. I mean, and that's it. Once you learn the technique, there isn't anything you can't tackle. I just have my patients come to me, my clients and stuff, and just, hey, what's bugging you today? And we just go right from there. It's absolutely amazing and fun, and it gets right to the point too, because of just the way it works. We work with the subconscious. Yeah, and
you brought up that you started out with learning about Jesus, and was it the healing aspect that interested you more about Jesus, or just everything in general?
Everything in general. I was just fascinated with it, and there was just something inside me saying that that's us. We can do it, and I've always believed my whole life that it was something we could do. There was just an internal feeling. And then, when Star Wars first came out and Luke Skywalker is pulling the lightsaber towards his hand, I'm like, we can do that. I know it, and we can manipulate energy and stuff to where you can move objects and stuff like that. You're part of everything. It is what you are. It's the belief systems that are stopping you from allowing you to do that.
Right.
And that's where, again, learning about your belief system is beneficial to every single one of you. You will always be fighting yourself until you understand your belief system, because you won't understand why you're fighting yourself, why you're doing the things that keep self-sabotaging you and stopping you in relationships, or stopping you at work, stopping you from going out to get your dream job, or going out to be the rock star, whatever. I mean, the belief systems do it all. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. I remember once I was working with one of my clients, and she asked me if I could help her keep her office clean. And I'm like, really? Wow. You're going to pay me to keep your office clean? I'm like, all right.
Sure.
You know, and I already knew by this time, it doesn't matter with Theta Healing. You could start with the weirdest topic and get down to serious business. And so when I started working with her, we started to find out that the reason she keeps her office dirty is because she really wants to write a book. But she always has an excuse not to start her book because she always has to clean the office first in order to write the book. And it's just the little games that we play with ourselves.
Self-sabotage is what it is.
Yeah, it's self-sabotage. And we do this to ourselves all the time. And unless you can identify with it, you will continue to do it because there's a reason you're doing it. You're actually protecting yourself because she didn't want to put herself out in the public eye. And she was worried about people not liking it and being, people, making fun of her or whatever. She was afraid to put herself out there. So it was more about insecurity than anything else. And so, but we'll self-sabotage in the weirdest ways. It won't even look like the actual issue we have,
right,
but we'll do it. It's amazing. And that's what I love about Theta Healing and doing sessions with people. I mean, you get to see a slice of life that you probably have never saw before. And it's amazing. And I got to thank everybody that I've ever had the pleasure to work with, because not only have I had the pleasure of hopefully assisting them and helping them in their lives, but they've changed my life, because every time I work with somebody, it changes me and I change for the better inside. When I'm giving the programs that are assisting them and helping them, it's helping me at the same time. It's just absolutely amazing. And then to see that truly, again, back to Gigi, when we were talking about everything's love, well, all the issues we have, they might show up as everything else, but the issues are we're just not loving ourselves enough. So if I'm giving my power away, it's because I'm not loving myself enough. I don't feel strong enough in myself. So I'm going to give my power away to Jesus or to God and say, please save me, because I'm not strong enough. That's not loving yourself. And so this is a realization that I got. And I believe we've talked about this before, is that when I started realizing how horrible it is and how bad it is to give your power away, and how we do it, I started to realize things. When we give the power away, it's when you're praying to God. You pray to God, you give your power away. You are not weak enough, or you're not strong enough to save yourself. You need something else to save. I'm not trying to take anything away from God, but give yourself that energy, give yourself that love, and you will have the strength. Because what it is your belief system, okay? You don't feel like you're strong enough. You don't believe you're strong enough. But when you start to pray to God, all of a sudden you now believe you're strong enough because you got God on your side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
sure.
kind of...
So if you make the medicine wheel, hold on, sorry. But if you make a medicine wheel, it's not the medicine wheel. In a sense, it's the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel now gave you the belief. It's in every single one of us. We don't need the medicine wheel. You don't need the crystal. You don't need any of that. It's all within you. Do you believe you can? Do you feel you can? Do you truly believe inside that you can, like tomorrow, like the sun's going to come up tomorrow? Do you believe that strongly in yourself that you can do it? If you do, you can.
There's people out there who like for me, for instance, maybe they take it for granted though. Maybe they already think that the sun's coming up tomorrow, and therefore they don't even think twice about it. Does that make sense?
Yes, but you believe so strongly, you just know it's going to happen. That's how strong you have to have your belief. When I believe in something, when I start to manifest my future and I start to manifest what the love I want, I have to believe it like it's tomorrow, like the tomorrow. Like tomorrow is coming, like we know it's going to be there. You have to have that strong of belief. Otherwise, you don't believe.
And
Gigi,
otherwise, something that will stop you from believing. Sorry, Gigi.
I was just going to open it up for Gigi. Go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. Well, but yeah, a lot of these points that you're making is exactly what Jesus talks about in the lost gospel of Thomas, which is one of those books that was removed during the meeting of Constantine, right? Along with Mary Magdalene's books, the book Lost Book of Eden, all the, that was one of those books. But what's interesting about the Gospel of Thomas is it's not like any other book. It's literally just a list of 114 quotes that Jesus said. There's no story structure, it's just quote after quote after quote. And it's really powerful stuff. And it's kind of weird that, like, why would they have taken that out of the Bible? But they did for some reason. And you can look it up online. Just type in Gospel of Thomas and you can check it out for yourself. I know a lot of people haven't read it, but I would highly recommend reading that.
There is a reason why they took it out of the Bible. Okay. Your listeners, and we're all pretty smart here. We know how most of our books are being written for history and stuff like that. It's the one who are in power that really write things. So they manipulated the Bible. They manipulated all these stories. If you go through there, my problem with it, and I've had this problem ever since I was a kid on some of these stories, is that the way they talk about us in it is they take our power away constantly. We have no power in it. It's not what it is. We have all the power. We have to step up, and I believe we have to start believing and looking at ourselves as that creative energy, because that creative energy is perfect and beautiful. That creative energy has understanding. Okay, it doesn't matter that we're all different. It embraces that. That's what we should do. We should embrace our differentness and just have understanding and love, because I love it when people are different than me, because I get to learn. I get to understand and learn more things, and that only benefits me, because then the next time I'm in a situation, I have more understanding. I might be able to work my way through it better. If there's somebody that I have a conflict with, if I take the time and listen to what's going on with them, I got, not the upper hand, like I need an upper hand to take advantage of them, but it benefits me, because now I know how to handle and deal with them. I know what his concerns are. Mm-hmm. And so I can deal with them better. It doesn't matter if they want to listen to me or not. That's not my concern. It's what deals with me. What should serve all of you is that what you were talking about earlier, Dave. We are the center of our world, okay? Dave is the center of his world. Gigi's the center of his. Russ is the center of his. I'm the center of mine. And we should all act like that, okay? We're all part of this. And so what we should all act by that is that, okay, I love myself unconditionally. And each and every one of you should love yourself so unconditionally that you should come first.
Right.
Okay? Mm-mm. But when I love myself so much unconditionally that, yes, my world comes first, but you are all part of my world, and the only way for my world to succeed is for all of you to succeed. And so by me learning to love myself unconditionally, I have learned how to love everybody else unconditionally, because I love everybody else the same way I love me. I want you guys to succeed more than I want me to succeed. But if I help you to succeed, what does that do for me? That makes me need to succeed even more and try even more. So if you truly love yourself, that's how we progress in the world. But we progress, we should all be different. I think that is one of the special, unique gifts God gives us, is our own unique individuality. I think we should also, man, why am I having a hard time looking for words?
It's all right.
We should all empower ourselves to just be you. Be who you are, man. Embrace that. It makes the world unique. It's so awesome. I love it when I go down, especially in Vegas, you see the most unique people on the sides of the road, man. And you have a great show. It's awesome. We all need to be unique and have fun, man. I think we're moving into an awesome time, but we're in a very vital point right now, because it's the changing of the energy. We're going from the male energy to the female energy. So right now we're in a very rough time where we're shifting energies, and anytime in this point, it's a lot of chaos until we come out of it. It's like the dip in the bottom of the wave and stuff. And so we're in a very chaotic time right now. So we just got to stay calm. We got to stay in love, just be relaxed, and, manifest what you guys want to manifest in your creation, and we'll have it.
There you go.
there's a meditation I think I'm going to start on Wednesday night. And I think I'm going to be calling it One Love. And basically what I want to do is basically what I'm talking about here is us to get together, be a really short meditation, but I just want to unify everybody's heart, unify love, where we all just get together and we all just start to feel love, and the love what we want to feel and project into our world, and the way we want to see our world in the future, the way we want our world for our kids, and the way we want the universe existence for all of us, you know, and just a nice small little meditation with love.
That's fantastic. And you know, the only time I really saw that in the world was after 9/11. You know, it just seemed like everyone came, it took a disaster like that for everyone around the world to come together and, you know, and to just, you know, really care about each other. It didn't last long. I mean, I think everyone went to church the following Sunday after that, you know, and it was just an amazing, amazing time. And, you know, once again, you know, it's just too bad that we had to go through 9/11 to experience that. We do have questions from the chat room, and we also, I just want to put it out there. I do have a phone line open. So for those of you who are listening and you guys want to participate, want to, you know, call in and, you know, have a quick question or a quick comment, the phone line's open. It's 1-415-891-9083. Once again, that number is 1-415-891-9083. Russ is putting it in the chat rooms as I say that. Yeah, and I'll just start off with one of the questions that I've seen so far. So this comes from Tiff, and actually, I'm sorry. Let's go with Sojourner Truth in the YouTube chat. Wants to know, does Jeff think theta healing can help with sciatica? So we're going back to the physical aspects of how the healing can help oneself.
Well, yeah, real quick before you answer, I just heard that word sciatica for the first time in my life yesterday, and I don't know what that means.
Well, Jeff,
it's kind of weird. It's coming up again tonight. So,
well, I assume they're talking the sciatic nerve in the back.
I'm assuming that as well.
Okay. Yeah, which is a big problem for a lot of people. And yes, this is the way I see it, and it's the way it's been taught to me through theta healing and what I saw when I was a patient of Dr. Roberts. Our emotional aspect is the strongest part of us, okay? Our emotional aspect creates everything within us. It creates the disease, the disorders, all the ailments, okay? So with the emotional stress, even the stuff we've been talking about today, this is what it'll do to you. So when you're under emotional stress, that starts to deplete your body. So your body might not create enzymes. You know, there's different things. You could get dehydrated. So then with the stress and stuff, it can restrict and take energy out of the organs, which then the organs need energy. So then they're going to start to steal energy from the muscles, which they're going to start to take energy from there. So then the muscles are going to start to get weak, and they're going to start to contract, and they're going to start to pull the skeletal system out of place. And so all of it's intertwined together. So when you have emotional stress, any type of emotional stress, it starts to cause diseases. So yes, relieving the emotional issue allows the body to go back into place and start operating right, and allows the body to go back into place. And that's with disease, disorders, anything.
There you go, Sojourner. Also, there was, I believe, a couple of questions in Twitch. Russ Bailey, by any chance, did you happen to see those questions?
I saw a couple on YouTube. Mika asks, through theta healing, does your brain emit alpha brain waves?
I'm not sure what she means by that. I mean, you definitely, when you're at all times, you're going through all your different brain waves, I believe, you know, we're constantly going through them. So even when I'm using the theta brainwave, I'm actually tapping into some of the other brain waves as well, too. So I don't know if that answers the question or not, but I do believe all of our brain waves, they all have special functions for us. They help us get through the days and stuff, and actually are defense mechanisms as well too that keeps us alive. So
are there, I mean, so there's theta wave healing. Is there other practices like, is there delta wave healers out there? Is there gamma wave healers out there? Or why is theta? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but theta healing seems to be the more prominent, legitimate field of expertise, if you will.
Fair question.
Well, the only thing I could say is when you go into the theta brainwave, it accesses that Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. You get to tap into the creative energy of all that is. You can ask any question you want, and if you know how to listen, you're going to get the answer. You can look into the future. I mean, you can see anything. Theta healing is, I mean, the theta brainwave is a very special brainwave that allows you to tap into different aspects and realms of existence, I believe. And I do believe other brainwaves help as well, too. So, I mean, you can be bouncing in between. I believe when you're doing healings, you're bouncing in between theta and gamma. You bounce between those two, if I'm correct. I think, yeah, because gamma is one of the main ones you use for healing.
Right. Yeah.
But I do believe you bounce back and forth constantly through them all.
And we're getting our first phone call. Let me go ahead and answer that really quick. Hi, you're on Beyond the Strange with Dave Cruz and Jeff Renel, Russ Bailey, and Gigi.
Well, that's a mouthful. This is Dino calling. I'm watching
Dino.
you on my big screen for a change.
It's great to hear from you, man. How you doing?
Well, I'm hanging in. You know, this was a good, I only caught since part of this, but this is a good thing for me to be seeing because, and this is what I wanted to talk to Jeff about, is that, you know, under current conditions, we have an umbrella of stress with this COVID vaccine and the COVID virus and the politics that went on, and we can go down the list: the nature, the natural disasters, the fires, you know, this freezing in Texas, and so I guess the thing I wanted to ask Jeff is when you have these, you know, like where is the next one coming from? When you're having these hits on many different levels, and yet one is trying to keep a positive attitude. I love Wayne Dyer. As simple as he seemed to be, he was very deep, and I think he helped a lot of people. And and so when you watch his tape, or when you try to go, yeah, there's a lot of good in life, you know. And Gigi, being a Libra like I am, we realize that we like everything to be mellow, but you know, you have to have these things to balance out. And so I guess what I'm asking is, when we get to a point, let's talk about a medical condition on the physical. Steve Jobs, for example, you know, was a brilliant guy in many ways, but the reason they say he died was that he thought, oh, I can handle, I think he had a cancer or something, I can do it all with alternative methods. And doing these alternative methods, and he waited too long where, you know, some Western medical process might have helped him, but it was too late. So I guess that's the dilemma. When do we realize that, yes, you have to have a positive attitude, and yes, the mind and body have to be as one and in sync, but, you know, maybe science isn't all good, but it's not all bad. When do we realize that maybe our limitation with our good feelings and our healing energy, you know, can only go so far? When should one realize, so that one does not get oneself into deeper trouble, that maybe they need outside help to heal mind, body, or even psychology?
No, that's absolutely a great question. And, you know, I think that's why we live in a very special time right now, because, you know, the Western medical field is just absolutely amazing. What we can do with Western medicine now is amazing. The stuff they're coming out with, the 3D printers and what they do with that. So my outlook on it is, especially when I first started learning, I was like, oh, humbug with the doctors and all that. But no, I come to realize that everything serves a purpose and everything is needed. So like if you find out you got cancer and you don't have much time, I would suggest probably going to the doctors and trying to see what you can do there. My advice would be is afterwards, then try to find out what emotional issue caused that originally and try to resolve that. Because if the emotional issue isn't resolved, then that disease could come back in a different form, in a different way, because the stress is still there. And so the body wants to get rid of the stress, so it could create another disease or something just to try to make you pay attention. Because basically that's the way I see it, is the body reacts in certain ways to make us pay attention to it. So we make those changes so we can balance ourselves out, because it's just when we're out of balance that the body starts to react like that. And it's when we've been out of balance for so long that the body actually starts to have a physical reaction to it. But me personally, I tried to do the holistic route, but if it came to the point where I needed to go into the hospital and use a medical doctor, I have no problem with that. But it's just afterwards, I would go back to trying to resolve the emotional issues that might have caused that to begin with, and trying to get back to just a more holistic type of approach to get my body healthy, because I don't think that they do everything that they can to create a healthy body. Unfortunately, too much money is involved with all that stuff.
Very good. Now to the second half of my question, the emotional and psychological side. I mean, for example, people have a love affair and it goes wrong, and you know, and it hurts you, and then you wonder, is it that person that hurt me, or you know, and the same thing with psychological issues. You know, there are some people who really are unbalanced. Maybe it's a chemical in the brain that's causing them to do things that are on borderline schizophrenia, or in the case of neuroses, something that they're compelled to do. So how can we apply this to someone like ourselves when we're going through a psychological malaise?
Well, that's where this really comes into hand, is, you know, you really can't do anything about your emotional issues until you realize it's there. That's just like we were talking before. When you're so depressed that you don't know happiness, you almost don't even realize you're in depression, because that's all you know. So you have to just kind of realize it's there to be able to make those changes. So once you realize that you have some negative stuff, then it's great, because then you can actually change it and stuff. Sorry, I lost where I was going there.
Thank you. Very good. I'll talk to you later, Dave.
Oh, really quick before you go, Gigi really wants to talk to you. Hang on one second, Dino.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. 1 second, Dino. Yeah, right before we let you go, I've got to say, man, when we all very first met back in 2015 in Joshua Tree, we had a really magical hangout sesh. It was you and me and Fran and a couple other the OGs. And just every time I think about Contact in the Desert or Joshua Tree or anything like that, I always remember that one. I mean, we had great conversation and it was such a good time. Yeah. And so I just wanted to bring that up, and I think about that all the time, and I don't even think I've seen you since then, in person, but I hope all is well. I know you've got your, you know, stuff that you deal with every day that most people probably don't. So
I'm retired now, so it is all about me a lot more than it was.
It should be. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best, my friend. It's good to hear your voice, and
very good to hear
hopefully
from
one day
Dino.
we'll see each other soon.
No, off the air, I want to ask you about some OGs, too, that I've lost touch with. Okay, thank you, Dave. Good show. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Dino, for calling in. Great to hear from you again.
Yeah, thanks, Dino, for the question.
That's Dino, everyone. I haven't heard from Dino in quite a while. For a while, we were keeping in touch, and you know, Dino's just he's one of those great-minded people. I mean, you could have conversations for days with Dino. Absolutely. And especially if you're in person, like if you go to a conference or something like that, or get together after a conference, it's just amazing, you know, conversations. So Really great surprise to hear from Dino. Once again, anybody out there wants to, call in, phone number is 1-415-891-9083. We have the numbers in the chat. Once again, that number is 1-415-891-9083. And I put it in the chat, but really quick, Dino kind of reminded me when he mentioned the passing of Steve Jobs. We lost Rush Limbaugh yesterday, and I know there's a lot of people who didn't like Rush. There's a lot of people who did like Rush. But what I want to say about Rush is, no matter what you think of him, he was a pioneer in radio. And he was one of the people who not only just, took politics to another level, and one of the first people to do so, but he brought that style of talk radio. And, I actually learned some stuff from him, so I really think, again, if for those of you who don't like him, who love him, that's your stuff. But I think we lost a really great pioneer, on the air, and a person that I think he really did love his country. And, that's the whole thing, Jeff, is we're at a point where a lot of people are just hopeless. And, and it's disgusting the way the mainstream media has been playing everyone. And, just, again, I'm not saying I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not saying I'm Obama supporter. I also know that at some point you do have to take a side, but, the way everything is being manipulated by the media, by the press, by, a lot of these programs, a lot of, besides Rush, there's a lot of programming that's out there. It's really horrible. That's manipulating us. I would have to say the first thing you guys need to do is just turn that off, turn it completely off. And I know there's some things, like for me, like my wife and I, just once in a while we'll watch something like, The Masked Singer or something like that. It's silly. It's fun. It makes us happy. But there's stuff out there that just is really, really bad for you. And I think people need to just turn that stuff off.
Yeah. And, and like you said, Dave, think what you will about Rush, but, he changed the game in several ways. And, whether you agree with him or not, you at least have to recognize that. Yep. So, cheers to Rush, man. I didn't know I'm just now hearing this right now. I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, he passed away yesterday, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think Larry King passed away too. Another pioneer. Yeah.
These last 2 weeks I've been pretty.
It's been pretty crazy, and that's another thing, Jeff, is we lose our sense of time. We lose our sense of what's happening because of everything that's going on. I mean, how do we start the meditations, or just what do we do? Just stop, like dead in our tracks, and just close our eyes and just, kind of or what do you recommend?
Make it simple, make it very simple. Just get relaxed. It's just, to start out, if you haven't really ever meditated before, you just want to calm yourself. You want to get away from the stress that we've been in. It's a chance to have a break for a second, to put a breaker in that busy day. And so, it can help us reset our mood. So the very first thing I would do is, definitely relax, get in a comfortable position. You don't have to have your fingers in any particular way or be sitting any particular way. There is techniques when you do that, when you get really into meditating, that certain finger positions and stuff have energy flows through it different ways. But just for the average person, though, just relax. Just quiet the mind. The mind's always racing. The mind's the one that starts to create the stress, the thoughts. Relax it. Quiet it down. You know, if you can't quiet it down, then I would say find something. Like if you wake up in the middle of the night and you got so much anxiety because of things going on, maybe then turn on the TV for a little bit. You know, do something to get your mind away from those thoughts so you can change it. And then once you're away from those thoughts, just keep building onto more positive thoughts. It can get overwhelming. I know it. I mean, it happens to me at times too. I mean, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll be stressing over certain things. And why? I mean, the one thing I did realize is if you can't do anything about it at this moment, there's no reason to stress over it. There's nothing you can do about it. So why stress over it?
Right. But at the same time, a lot of people, when they, especially today, especially in America, when people face tough times, they often turn to YouTube on their cell phone or Twitch on their computer as a form of escapism. And then sometimes people get addicted to the feeling of escaping, and then they never end up dealing with what actually caused them to want to escape in the first place.
Well, that's a problem. You know, if you love yourself, you're going to make the changes. If you're not loving yourself, you're going to avoid the changes. And most people want to avoid the changes. Even when you're working with them in a session, they'll avoid the changes. That's what we do. So it has to be you. And that's why, again, I preach so much about loving yourself. You have to be the one. You're the one that knows that. Nobody else will ever know that. So you have to be the one that says, hey, enough is enough. I got to do this now. You know, you have to have the discipline for yourself. To be an enlightened spirit and soul, you have to have discipline, and that goes to yourself.
Right. And, you know, speaking of enlightened spirit and soul, I think we can all agree that Jesus was probably fits that description more than most people in the last couple thousand years, right? And I was going to tell this joke earlier, just real quick. I heard a really funny joke from the late, great, powerful Bill Hicks, and he was talking about how, you know, Christians, the main symbol / logo, whatever you want to call it, is the cross, right? Like, yeah, sometimes you got the fish, right? But the main symbol is the cross, right? And so his whole joke was, based after what happened to Jesus the last time he's here, don't you think when he comes back, the last thing he wants to see is a cross? And I thought that was pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, Mormons do believe that. That's why if you ever notice a Mormon chapel, that you won't see a cross on it, or in the building itself. Seriously.
So you want to hear a funny story?
Go for it.
Yes.
Especially if my mom's still listening. So my mom did glass etchings most of her life and stuff, and she did amazing glass etchings. Are you guys familiar with that? It's when you sandblast onto the glass and stuff and create different depths and create the picture. Mm-hmm. Well, a long time ago, she had a Mormon couple that asked her to do the Mormon temple that they got married in. And so my mom did it at a side angle, and it was just absolutely amazing. 5 different depths. I mean, gorgeous. They fell in love with it, told all their friends. So then she got hired to do a lot of these. Well, she was doing one of them one day, and my dad comes up to her and starts going, "Man, that's such a cool dork on the top of the temple there." He tells my mom it's called the dork. And so she gets done with the project, and the couple come to go pick up their glass piece, and they're looking at it and they're like, "Oh my God, it is so awesome. Oh my God." They're just raving over it. My mom's like, "Yeah, check out the definition in the dork." And the whole room went silent. And of course that dork was Joseph Smith, their idol.
Oh, that is too much. Was it the angel that has the trumpet?
Yeah, that's Joseph Smith on the top, from what I understand. Yeah.
Actually, it's the angel Moroni. Is it? Oh, okay. Just to clarify that. Russ Bailey, we have a question, right?
Yes. Michael Jordan asks, when praying, do we connect with one another through the solar plex chakra? In doing so, we find another way to connect to one another or for healing.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, he says when praying, do we connect with one another through the solar plex chakra? And by doing so, do we find another way to connect or to one another for healing?
You know, that's a good question. I am not sure about that. I would say no with the chakra, because the chakras are more about us and who you are as the individual. They pertain more to that than the connection with each individual. It might stop you from connecting to a different individual if one is shut down or so, but connecting, that is in the ethers. That, to me, I always pictured it as that spider web coming through all of existence. It's, we're interconnected. Scientists has proven if you take a piece of paper and you rip it apart, it will always energetically be connected. Well, that's us. We're always energetically connected. We were connected at one point in time. You can easily read other people. So to me, it just goes to I don't know. It's hard to say where it goes. I just imagine things in my own head, and I don't know if that's where you would perceive it. Does that make sense? You just go, I go to a place in my head, and then I'm able to connect with people and stuff. And yeah, everybody can do it. You can read people all over the world. I've read people on the other side of the world I've never even seen before in my life. All I had was a name in front of me, and I was able to read them.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go,
it's
Mike.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, I said, there you go, Mike. Mike J, who asked that question on YouTube. Anyways, that's all I was saying. Was there anything else, Russ Bailey, that you can think of or seen in the chat?
Checking right now.
Other than a bunch of talk about Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
Like the elf.
One thing I wouldn't mind talking about right now is one other thing that I think is very important right now. We kind of briefly mentioned it, but understanding is key, man.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start having understanding for other people, what they've been through, and just trying to put ourselves in their shoes and understanding, because we're all in different points now. The world's so divided right now, or appears to be divided, and we're shutting people out. We need to stop and listen. We need to start talking to our neighbors and stuff like that. We need to start unifying, really. But it really comes with understanding and trying to understand, why does that other person think totally different to me? When you start to understand and have that idea, it brings you guys closer together, and we need to start unifying. I think that one of the biggest problems right now is a lot of us are stuck in ego, and we don't want to hear what the other person has to say. We're trying to prove that our belief is right too much, and we're trying to push too hard instead of stopping, trying to understand and listen, and allowing us to come to a nice balanced emotion.
Yeah. We do have another question in the chat from Minka. Is the Theta healing similar to reaching the state of samadhi?
Oh, yeah, that was the question I forgot to ask.
Good question. I've never been to the state of samadhi, or however you say that. I'm not familiar with that, to tell you the truth.
And very quickly answered. It just, when I hear all this stuff, I think of all the self-help gurus, even all the way to, Richard Simmons. It's just positive thinking. And I think, I'm not saying that that's what theta healing is. I'm just saying I can see how, being positive thinking can turn around a lot of things in our lives. And it's just interesting how it actually ties into the physical when it comes to like your emotions suppressed, memories of maybe perhaps abuse or, abandonment and that kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that I think people really, they struggle with, before they can move on. And it's important that people get, like I said, it's really important that we talk about this and this message gets out so people can start healing and get through all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's very difficult when you don't understand what's going on inside your own head and you're fighting yourself. I mean, I truly believe, we come into this world and we're just pure love when we come in, we're this loving baby. And now we're getting taught by people that have been in this existence for a while, and it's hard life and all of that. And so they're teaching this stuff that doesn't jive with us. And so now I'm learning beliefs that don't jive with me and don't mesh with me. And so I'm confused now because what I'm being taught doesn't go with the love that I felt as a kid. And so now there's confusion. And I believe this happens in a lot of us because a lot of these programs we take on were never ours and we didn't want them to begin with and stuff. But because we were kids and we were susceptible, we took it on. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so then we fight ourselves even more because we don't even understand why we're doing these things, because it's nothing that would, if we were to sit down and talk, you might say something totally different, be totally in love, talking about love and being compassionate with people. But then when you get out there, maybe get behind the wheel of your car, you're like, hey, F you, getting road rage and stuff like that. It's so, I don't know, it's hard to say, but it's very interesting. But we definitely need to learn the belief system. Mm-hmm. Everybody does, because it's going to benefit you. The only, it switches you to where you can start to see things positive because you understand the negative and you realize what choice is there. I could either be depressed, be angry. I could choose into that emotion, which I did most of my life, or I can choose to be happy. My experience is exactly the same, but I choose one outcome over the other one. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I learned this as being an actor. I learned as an actor, any role I got to take as an actor, I got to choose the emotions. I got to choose how I was going to play that character. It was my choice. Well, then when I started studying Theta healing and stuff, I realized, wait a minute, it's my choice as a human being too, to choose into my emotion every day, every moment of the day. What do I want to choose into? If everything's going bad, do I want to choose into being pissed off and angry? I might go there at first, but as soon as I start to realize I'm angry and pissed off, the new me, I'm going to go out of it and try to get back to happiness and comfort, because it's so much easier. There's less energy to express when you're happy. When you're angry, you're giving out all your energy constantly. But when you're in love, when I say in love, I mean with yourself. When you're in love with yourself, you store your energy. Your energy wells. I mean, anytime you find something, if you're in love and you're happy with love, dude, you hear a good song, your energy builds. You get around a good person, a good friendly person, your energy builds again. You don't get depleted. You get uplifted when you're around love and happiness and stuff. And this is the problem, Dave, is like what we talked about before. If you don't know what those feelings feel like, if you don't know that energy, you don't know you want to be in with it. Mm-hmm. I worked with clients before, and I'd work with them, and we'd get them so happy and everything, and they'd be happy and moving, and then it's like, okay, great, go live life for a while, and then let's do a session later. Well, when they come back a month later or whatever, boom, they're back into all the negative stuff because it was too uncomfortable for them to be in the good energy. They had to go back to what they knew, and they went back into the old energy.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's more comfortable there because that's all they know. The self-help program I was in, the greatest thing about that, they took us and threw us into the most uncomfortable situations over and over and over again in this self-help training. And so eventually, to me, being in an uncomfortable scenario is actually really comfortable for me now. And so that's helped me out a great deal, for me to be able to switch my energy in wrong situations. Not everybody has that training, so it's harder, but you have to be disciplined. You have to make that choice. You have to say, enough is enough. I'm done with this old energy. I'm done with this experience. I want something new. And when you come in for a session with me, that's all I can do. All I'm doing truly is changing your perspective on how you viewed it before.
Yes.
And I'm giving you a better perspective on how to view it today. and it will change your energy. It will wipe out the energy you were holding for that experience before. It's absolutely amazing. And I offer you, the three of you guys can call me anytime for a session.
Man, I might need a session.
I will definitely take you up on that as well. And I want to just ask one more thing, and the other guys, if they want to ask questions, that's fine. Audience want they want to ask something, that's fine. But when do we actually let our guard down, Jeff? And this, I think you know where I'm going with this. When do we actually let our guard down, start trusting, but not to the point where we're naive enough to let something hurt us? Do you kind of know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, the most common time that happens is around family members.
Okay.
Because family members are friends we get so comfortable with, we allow our guards to go down. When we're around strangers, then that's when the belief systems really kick in and we want to protect ourselves. So we're allowing all these thoughts and images in our heads, put up a wall in front of us. But when you're around family, your family puts the knives in your back more than anybody, because you have that opening, you allow that opening to them. And they mean more to you too. So when they say something negative to you, it stings a little bit more sometimes. And so they get the knife in the back all the time, man. And the knife in the back is a true physical ailment, man. If you don't know that, it happens, dude. So if you ever feel like a sharp pain in between your shoulder blades, that's usually a knife in the back.
Oof.
An energetic knife in the back, and it's real stuff. I mean, you can have energetic attacks, but energetic attacks only happen when you allow them to happen. You are the controller of your environment. If you allow the other person to attack you, it will happen, and it can happen super easy.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And to go along with that question too is, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do we love a person and protect ourselves at the same time?
It's going to go back to my same answer. You got to learn how to love yourself, because when you learn how to love yourself, you protect yourself in certain ways. Trust is nothing about trusting anybody else. It's about trusting yourself. When I trust myself, I know who I can depend on and who I might not be able to depend on. Okay. If I give Gigi $500 and, hey, pay me back later and stuff, if he doesn't pay me back, then I should have thought of all the scenarios before I gave it out, so it's me. I need to learn to trust myself. It's never about trusting anybody else. It's about trusting yourself. When you trust yourself, you know how to trust other people, when to trust other people. And that's what it's all about. Can I afford to give $500 away that might not come back? It's all of these scenarios and stuff. So you are the protector. You hold the keys to your environment. You have to have the discipline and the say so. I mean, being a loving person doesn't mean I say yes, yes, yes all the time. No is a very loving word. And so if I tell somebody wants something, I say no. Hey, just being honest with you and truthful with you. And it can be a very loving word, because then you might have to go earn it yourself. And earning it yourself is actually an amazing thing. Free things, the free stuff our government's trying to give for us is not good spiritually. When you go out and earn something, it does something for your spirit and soul. It drives it, man. It makes you want to live. And so that's what I get my high off of, is I try to keep achieving that, And so it's an amazing thing.
That was all very well said.
Yes, I totally agree with that as well.
That's why I shut up right there, because I thought I was going to lose myself.
No, you're doing fantastic. You're doing fantastic. But we are at the end of the show incredibly fast. 2 hours just flew right by. Gentlemen, do you have anything else for Jeff before he goes?
Oh, I have about 17 billion questions, but
I don't think we have time for that.
We're out of time, so
we'll just have to do another show, Jeff.
Yeah,
hey, man,
absolutely.
Anytime.
Had a great time, and thank you again. And one more time for everyone listening, where can we find you and everything that's you, especially now that all the social media stuff is going crazy and wacko, and we got to find different alternatives. So now's a good time to probably put it out there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're aware now. I've canceled every one of my social media sites that were on all the big media sites. So I canceled Twitter, Facebook, all of that. It didn't matter to me. I'm not out there selling my soul for likes and friendships. I have integrity. So, as soon as I saw everything that was going down, I had to cancel and get out of there, man. I'm not going to empower people that are trying to imprison us. And I would hope everybody out there, because this is how we fight back. We stop supporting them. I mean, ever since this whole COVID stuff started, I'm not trying to buy from corporations and stuff. I'm trying to buy from the little man, everything. I'm trying to support other people than the people that are trying to imprison us. I canceled my Amazon account. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to order a lot of things, but I'll have to figure it out. And I would rather do that than empower them. So I'm no longer on the social media sites. I am on some of the newer ones. So you can find me on MeWe. You can find me on Telegram. You can find me on Parler. And you can also find me on Rumble. That's where all my videos will start coming out. I'm starting to update and transfer all that stuff. I'm gonna make a video this weekend, so I'm gonna hopefully get that edited and out there really soon too, and start to produce some more stuff. Get my show going again too. So yeah, you can find me on those sites, and you just look for me under Jeff Renel. I try to keep it simple.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us tonight. It was my pleasure talking to you again.
Can I do another shout out really quick? Man?
Absolutely.
If you guys want to catch me, dude, I'm not participating in it, but I will be in Vegas in a couple weeks for the 5D event there.
Fantastic.
It should be a great event. My good friend Brad Olson will be speaking there, and they always have some great speakers there. If you've never been to a 5D event, man, they have some pretty good speakers, man. I've met some great people there.
I've been jonesing to go to a conference, so I'm definitely going to be there, and I know Brad as well, and yeah, he's a really great guy. So, to hang out with both of you will be an amazing time as well.
Right. I'm sure Eric at Awakening Man will be there. I don't know if Rev will be there, but we're trying to get the band back together.
I'm going to be there.
Go have some fun.
Gigi's going to be there, so there you go. We definitely got to be there. All right. Gigi, really quick, what's up with you? Throw out the shout outs.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. In case you guys don't know, I host a show called Shift Happens here on the Fringe FM every Friday night, and pretty soon about to start doing Sundays as well.
Very cool.
So check that out. And yeah, thanks for having me on. And real quick, I want to mention, I have to say, doesn't Jeff kind of look like Graham Hancock's younger brother? Am I the only one that thinks that? Just chew on that, folks.
I'll have to chew on that for a little bit, but I think that's a compliment.
Oh, absolutely.
Russ Bailey.
I might actually be older than him, though.
Oh, wow.
Facebook, Black Sky Paranormal. Twitter at BSky_paranormal, and BeyondTheStrange.com.
BeyondTheStrange.com it is. And also, yes, Monday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on the Fringe FM, Beyond the Strange. And coming up this Monday, we will have Tiffany Fontenot and Reverse Speech. It'll be a great show. So everyone, have a great night. Thanks again, Jeff. Thanks again, you guys. We'll see you next time. Stay strange.
Thanks, guys.